That's the real street photography intro.
That is hilarious. Am I supposed to be talking?
It's fine.
This is very Casey Neistat. Very, very ingenuitive?
I think
Great
so.
ingenuity.
Yeah, thanks. I have Max here. Let me change the layout. And I have Max here for a photo talk. We are in Camera Clara live on Substack. Okay, now I see that we are live in Substack. Let me just double check if, okay, now I open the chat and I can see messages in the chat. It takes like 20 seconds to show up in Substack. That's why I have that intro, so I confirm that things. Well, we are live, and thanks Max for getting on this live streaming with me here in Camera Clara in Substack. This video will be syndicated to YouTube after as a video on demand on the Camera Clara channel, which is like not my main strength. But Max's main strength is his YouTube channel with 80,000. Did you reach 80,000 already?
I'm nearly there. I don't know if it's... We're
79 and a half. Yeah.
79,593 as of talking right now.
Yes, that's super great. That's super great. Let me actually, I think I can do this and show people. So if you're not subscribed, please go there. Max Adams on YouTube. Just search for Max Adams on YouTube. You're gonna, yeah, you better do it. You're gonna find this man here that does lots of cool videos, and that's how I met him. In one of the videos, super entertaining, super nice, and he's super reachable as well. It's not like these YouTubers that has like 70,000, 80,000 subscribers and will ignore you. So he's a super cool guy. Here it is.
Try to respond to everyone.
Yep, exactly. And that's super valuable. That's something that people really enjoy. So this Five Guys camera here is super nice. I have different YouTube profiles. So if I switch account here, you can see I have different accounts. That's why in this account turned that I only saw this video, but I binged
it's
them
okay,
all.
Raph.
Like,
I wasn't judging you.
yeah, I usually, so I have a base channel called Ref Base with 14, like more than 1,000 subscribers. Look at that.
There you go.
I play bass.
Let's go.
Yeah, so go on Max's channel, subscribe. It's super nice, super interesting, and he talks about all the cool stuff in
cameras.
Some of
cameras.
Some
that's
of the
what, that's
cameras.
What I talk about.
Some of these stuff is gonna be Max is gonna talk about here as well. And when I was talking with Max via Instagram DMs, we usually talk a lot about film versus digital. That's where this super cool hat came from, which if Focus helped me.
I got it for us, Raph.
Yeah. You're probably using a Sony, aren't you?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm using a Canon, so look at the difference.
There's your problem.
Yeah, exactly. I know, yeah. Yeah, in fact, Sonys are very good. For digital Sony, like digital commercial. I saw you had something about global shutter recently.
Yeah, I've been playing with it. So I just rented the A9 III from Sony Pro Support because it's a fascinating camera. Like global shutter to me is like super interesting. I just made a video where I tried to fill in an SD card as fast as I can. It took me 6 minutes to fill an SD card with that camera. 180 gig, 160 gigs. Which actually in the video world is not actually that impressive. It boasts 120 frames per second in stills, 14-bit RAW, but that only lasts like a second and a half, and then it quickly gets down to like 24 frames per second, which is still more than most cameras. But then after about a minute, it gets down to 5 frames a second, and then it sticks to about that for the rest of the time.
Nice.
But
yeah,
it's an interesting camera.
Yeah, something that is very peculiar and interesting in you is your sense of humor, which reminded me of a joke with these fast burst FPS cameras. Like, you know how Bresson said about the decisive moment? Like, you captured the click and everything. I saw a video of someone doing one of these bursts, like 30 frames per second, 120 frames per second, and photographing someone jumping over a puddle, like Bresson. And then in post, in Lightroom, he was like, oh, Bresson said we should choose the decisive moment. Here's like, I can choose the decisive moment now. Like, is this a decisive moment?
That is hilarious. Every time I have used a burst in a video, somebody has commented something about the decisive moment. Like, you don't need burst, you just take one shot at a time.
Yeah. You kind of
Yeah,
do.
I get.
You kind of do. Like if you're working commercially, you don't want the bride with her eyes closed.
Right. Yeah,
At
there's no
least,
question.
yeah. At least like a low burst, right?
Yeah.
For commercial work, especially because nowadays there is lots of culling software that will detect eyes closed and stuff like that. So if you're photographing events, speaking about photographing commercially, what do you photograph commercially? Like, as your
Most of my work is split between two things. So I do restaurants, so promotional material for restaurants. So I work for a company that builds websites for restaurants. So I will photograph all of their food, photograph the environment, and then make a 30-second to a minute like highlight reel of their food and their environment and service and build their website. And then the other half is real estate. So doing real estate listings, same thing, photographing the real estate listing and making a video with the real estate agent where they say, come look at my new listing and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then 10% is miscellaneous. So like events, weddings, stuff like that.
Cool. I have two questions. How hard it is to photograph food? Because this is something I always thought about, because the look of the subject you're photographing, in this case food, degrades really fast, right? So let's say you have things more than other, like I believe a bowl of salad would last more than like meat or with sauce that might, like, how do you have to be fast? Or do you set everything up and then as the food comes you're already dialed in and you just like click click click?
Yeah, it's set up.
It's set up, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll have a light set up like this. Usually it's a one light setup because I'm on location in the restaurant while they're in operating hours, usually. So I'm in the corner, like I can't have this, 3 light setup. So it's just one light. And I set up the light. I tell them every time I get there, I say, I can photograph it as fast as you can cook it. And they bring it out. I photograph it as quick as I can. And then I'll try to do a group shot of dishes with things that keep, like things that, cheeses, like immediately you can tell if a cheese has gone cold. Meat, like it loses its shine, the oiliness of it when it gets a little cold. So anything with cheese, soups, like they stop steaming, you want to get the steam. The biggest challenge for me is I'm using a video light because I'm also making a video while I'm there, and like having enough depth of field to capture the front of the dish to the back of the dish.
Yes. What lens do you usually go?
It's a 24. I shoot it on a 24 f1.4, which is this lens right here, and I APS-C crop so that I can get farther away, use an APS-C crop, and have a deeper depth of field at f5.6, which the equivalent would be like a 35 mil lens on full frame.
Full frame.
Yeah, so I use the same. I can get away with like 5.6. I should probably be at like f8 to get enough depth of field, but that's a lot of light to pull from one light and then house lights. So
and if you add flash, it introduces a whole complexity of reflections, I assume. Because with flash,
and
you could
video,
close.
So I can't.
You also need the video. Yeah,
the video light.
Yeah, and a powerful light, I assume.
Yeah,
because you want the lower ISO. Do you do? Now 2 questions on top of that. Do you do post processing to add steam? Is that a crime? Like in this industry, like is it like horrible if you just go on Photoshop and you put like smoke and things out?
I've never done that. I'm sure.
Okay.
I mean, these aren't like high budget productions, so it's like these are going on a local restaurant's website, so it's like there's not that much post processing. I'm editing colors and stuff, and maybe I'll mask the food itself and just brighten that up or something, but there's not a lot of post production.
I see. And another question that I assume lots of people ask you is like, do you eat the food? Like, do you eat the food after? Does someone eat the food after? What do they do with the food that is photographed?
Every single time I photograph somebody walks up to me and goes, "Who's eating all this?" And I say, "I am." And yeah, I eat all, every time I say I am. It's all for me, and I'm usually got like 15 dishes. There's no way I can eat all of it. I usually take a dish home for me and a dish home for my girlfriend, and then let the kitchen staff have the rest. So you'd be surprised.
Nice.
Sometimes the kitchen or the owner will just take the food and throw it out right in front of me, not even offer.
Jesus. Not even
Like,
served to customers. Because I would
no.
believe someone would like try to be smart and like, okay, let's wait for a customer to order that dish and then we photograph and deliver.
They're not supposed to because I've been touching it, so it's like it would
that's
definitely
right,
it would be a food crime.
I see. Yeah, yeah.
But if you
But
give
that's
it to
crazy
free,
that they
for
throw
free
it
to
out.
regulars. Yeah, no. And
Yeah,
it
it's
happens
the
maybe
regulation
10%
thing.
of the time. Yeah.
That's interesting. I never imagined that. Which is crazy because they make their model dish to be photographed and they then throw away their model dish.
Yeah.
So food photography is something very, 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 very hard to do because, but as you said, it is like having everything pre-dialed, especially, and the continuous light helps with that because the flash is more of a surprise because the flash, everything happens in a millisecond when you hit the shutter. But with a continuous light, good to know. Which light do you use? Do you use like a super strong light or a regular?
It's a small rig RC 220, I think it's called RC 220B. I want to say. The thing as well is that you need in a light is that the closer it is, the higher contrast it is. So like if the light is really close to the food, the right side, say the light is over here, this side of if my head is a hamburger, this side of my head is going to be really bright and this side is going to be completely black.
Yeah.
So you have to move the light farther away to reduce the contrast. And
the light needs to be
get
stronger.
really bright. When I shoot in bars, I am everyone's worst nightmare because I light up the whole place and everyone's like used to a dim bar, and then the people at the bar will look over me like, really? Like they get pissed because I brighten up the whole place.
How about drinks? Do you also do drinks?
Yep.
Is it harder than food?
I would say
if everything's pre-dialed, you just put the thing in there and... Did you already have the idea of using a lazy Susan to rotate things and then instead of having to position that, you just pre-position and then you like factory assembly line out of this?
That would be awesome. I have not had that idea yet. I would say drinks are easier because the light doesn't fall off as fast. Like you're not casting, the drink isn't casting a shadow on itself because it's in a glass. So the whole thing is usually illuminated by the light. So you don't have to worry about shadows as much.
I see. Do you have customers that request artistic things like, oh, put this light here to reflect on and crazy stuff like that? Or they just want like documentation of their items? Yeah,
usually not really. If they do, usually it's I just say, I got it, and then
ignore it. Got it and ignore it. Yeah. Oh, a classic. I love that. Yeah. I do that all the time. So on the other side of the spectrum, real estate photography. This is something I assume it's highly rated. Wide angle lenses to make the place look bigger. Is that a thing? Like you use these 10 millimeters, 14 millimeters, very wide to make I use a
14. Let me see. I think I have it in my bag.
14. Yeah, that's interesting because the lower
I use
the
a 14 mil. I would say any wider than that is like getting to the ridiculous levels of distortion. Like I've rented the 12 mil, 12 to 24 Sony G Master before. And that's getting into ridiculous levels of distortion where it almost doesn't look real. But yeah, using a wide angle lens definitely makes a difference.
Mm-hmm. And you said that 10% of the work is like miscellaneous, like weddings, parties, stuff like that. How is the film? Do you see film getting in the market, in the industry? Because as a hobbyist, we know that film is skyrocketing, right? Film prices are going up and everything. It's super funny. Like if you go out for a street photography session, 2 in 5 people are using a film camera. How is in the industry side? Do you see people requesting that more? Maybe on fancy weddings and stuff like that, or maybe as something that the the client, you can offer to the client in addition to the digital shots? How do you see film in the industry for weddings and parties and stuff like that?
Because I do 90% of my work is not in the creative space like that.
Uh-huh.
I would say that I don't really have my finger on the pulse of that kind of thing, but I would say if I was in weddings, I would absolutely offer it because I know that people die for it. I only shoot weddings for friends and family, so when I shoot weddings for friends and family, I'm one, not charging them what a real wedding photographer would charge, and two, I'm not going to throw in an extra. I usually bring my film cameras because I'm obsessed with shooting film anyway, and don't charge them for the film because I like the portfolio of it.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be the best person to ask about the creative side of it.
Yeah, I think that doing friends and family is a good thing because you don't have, like, of course that you have the responsibility of delivering something, but because it's friends and family, they know the I mean, they always have high expectations, always, but it gives you, because they're friends, it gives you more space to be creative with the film, which sometimes may help you to build a more robust, I don't know if robust is the right word, like a more bold portfolio on wedding, and then build a name on that. That could be interesting.
Totally.
The Yeah, I don't work with photography. Photography for me is a hobby, but if I was working with photography, I would try to put film in all the things, even if it's just for me, just for portfolio creation and stuff like
No,
that.
I bring my film cameras to the restaurant shoots, and if I see a really good dish with really good lighting, I'll be like, I'll take a photo of it. If it looks
Interesting.
like a nice flat lay.
Hmm. Do you use a light
It's
meter
good.
with the, or you just rely on the camera's light meter? Do you use like a hand Sekonic or a light meter for the dishes
Digital?
and for the, yes?
No, just in camera. Yeah, just live view.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the
Yeah.
histogram, like for those, it's so cool. I imagine because on film it's not a choice. Like if you're using flash on film, you must do the light meter. Like unless you know a lot what you're doing and you're doing that for decades. But
Yeah.
on film and
Especially
the and
off-camera flash. If you're using on-camera flash,
yes, yeah,
you can
these
you
these
can read the
these
veto
external
note.
ones, yeah, and
Yep.
the Sekonic L858 or 585, something like that, has a radio module, so you can trigger the flash via the light meter. So you just go there, press the button, and the light meter triggers the flash, and then it sees the light and tells you the exposure triangle based on the light that is reaching the flash. So it's super convenient. I did that once with a friend of mine, Brian, and we photographed some products, and that might be an interesting thing to do that I need to do more. Like if I am bored on a Saturday afternoon, I just get the lights, go to a studio, get a bunch of products I have here in my house, like shit like this, or not the cameras, because like photographing cameras are so dummy, but getting things you have in your house and just publishing them, so people might think you were working for Apple or you're working for
Yeah.
Sony. Like I bet people do that.
I've done my dad's watch with on video though. I was testing a super macro lens and I was doing like 4K 120 of my dad's watch
Yeah,
and like just of the second hand just flying by.
yeah, and nothing's. I'm not that into the legal terms of doing that, but nothing would stop you. You were a customer with the product. You turn out to be a photographer, and you took a picture, and you put in your. You're not. You're not associating with their name. You're not saying that you have a legal contract with them. I don't know how that happens, but like,
No, I can't. I don't think it would be a problem at all.
yeah,
Yeah,
and it might
as
be
long as you
a
don't say, "Hey, they just paid me to take this picture."
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly, or like
it's no
this is my
different than somebody with
customer,
an
or
iPhone.
yeah, yeah, which brings me to the whole concert photography dilemma. Once I got denied, like it was a band called Porcupine Tree. I don't know if you're familiar with that. And Steven Wilson, which is the singer of the band, he's super. I think he does it right. Like he completely prohibits photography in his shows and cell phones. It was the only show that I watched that was like no cell phones. It was just like 1999. Perfect. But I brought my, at the time it was a Fuji X100V, small camera, for that purpose, less capable than iPhones, because the iPhones you can have the 5x lens, whatever. the security guy didn't let me get in the it was in Manhattan. What's the name? Whatever. It's one of the venues in Manhattan. The security guy said like, no, you can put it in the locker. Photos are not allowed. And I was like, this is ridiculous. This is less powerful. Like, I'm not even carrying the camera because I want to photograph the show. I'm carrying the camera because I was doing street photography in Manhattan before. And I was like, I have to leave it in the locker. But I know that the iPhones are more powerful than that. Which, speaking about iPhone photography, there is a comment here on the chat from Mary. She says, I always find it the hardest to photograph my soup, chilies, or jambalayas as I'm making it due to the steam. But I always love it with the colors. Thanks, Mary, for the comment. Mary's a super cool person, and she uses her phone for making photography. And
I have had quite a few steamed up lenses in the kitchen.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll go back in the kitchen and shoot with the restaurants, and my lens steams up, and I'm doomed.
Cool. And that's the whole cool thing about these live streamings. It's like open-ended. We don't have an agenda. We don't have topics that we're going to follow. And we were talking about photographing food professionally. And I know that Mary is interested on doing photography with iPhone. So you, Max, that work professionally with photography with high-end equipment, Sony, global shutter, continuous light, and things like that. What would be things that you think about if you're photographing food with your phone instead of your super cool Sony with the lens? Because you're making videos also, right? Lighting, right?
It's lighting. Like when I set up my lights and like have it at the right distance and have a nice shadow casting, slightly backlit, and the owners will often come over and take pictures with their phones, and I'll just be like, just get right here, and I'll show them exactly how to shoot it, and it looks way better than any picture they've ever taken because they've never set up a light.
Yeah, it's lighting.
Their food.
Yeah,
it's lighting.
Yeah. For making videos, the Blackmagic. Have you tried the Blackmagic iPhone app?
I've downloaded it. I played with it for 10 minutes, and I haven't opened it since.
Yeah, it's pretty nice because the iPhones now you can attach SSD, and like this is an SSD, 1 terabyte USB-C.
It looks like a vape.
So yeah, the SSD is actually inside this. So the SSD is inside. This is just like a case that has a fan and a USB-C. There are some solutions that are very interesting that have MagSafe, that you plug an USB-C cable and you attach to the back of the phone, and then you have like 2 terabytes, which is interesting because you can shoot in Apple ProRes with the Blackmagic app.
Nowadays, 2 terabytes would cost you as much as the phone.
Yes, right. Which is a big irony because Apple had always been massacred for being expensive because of the... How do I put this thing again? All right, clicks. It's a super cute thing. Like, it's USB-C. Yeah. When I want to do something more proficient with my phone, I get the Blackmagic app and I put this and I recording Apple ProRes straight to the iPhone. And the Enhancer app, which does film simulation, their iPhone app is super good as well. So
I didn't know they had a mobile app.
They have, and it's powerful. It's powerful. They wrote that app, that program in Java, which gives them the very good ability of running on Linux, Windows, iPhone, like a Motorola phone, whatever, radio, toaster. Java runs everywhere. So it's good, like the Blackmagic app. And if you get one of these gimbals, you can put the phone there and you can do some cool stuff. So I hope that helps, Mary.
I never shoot on my phone.
Yeah. There is a friend of mine.
I posted a video that last week for the first time from my phone. For the first time ever on my channel.
Yeah, there is a friend of mine who lives in Brazil, and he also has a very cool newsletter here in Substack. It's called Obscura. He writes in Portuguese, and he's a very strong advocate for doing photography with cell phones. And he was sponsored by Motorola once, and they gave him the phone and they paid for him to do an expedition to Amazonia, like the real Amazon, not the store. And he went there and he made some incredible photos with the phone. And speaking about, I'm very curious to try the new Xiaomi. It's a Chinese brand that has Xiaomi that has Leica lenses on the phone, which is super interesting because the Leica has an app called the Leica Lux, which I don't know if you had already tried. The Leica Lux is only available for iOS, and the reason that is only available for iOS is because they profiled the lens distortions and fringing and chromatic aberration and everything on the lenses in the iPhone, and they correct that. So that's why Leica Lux is only available for the iPhone. And you can emulate with lots of quotes in there, semi-luxes, noctiluxes, stuff like that, with lots of quotes. I said like $10,000 lenses. But you, of course, you're not going to have the same optical quality, but I think you get the same distortion, field of view, stuff like that.
Yeah,
I think
that when people compare iPhone photography to cameras, like the thing that you will never get you will get everything from a phone with software that like your lenses can be sharp, but you can never emulate the depth of field. Like
yes, because that's physics. It's optics.
It's optics. Yeah,
It's optics.
But yes, there's no question in a deep depth of field situation with good light, an iPhone is amazing. The modern phones are amazing.
Yeah, it's lots of
emulation, like you said. We talked about before we get on the fake out of focus areas. No, just don't do it.
Yeah, I prefer not doing that at all. I prefer just like when I'm doing the MacBook camera or a crappy camera for like work calls and stuff like that. I just disable that and I find a wall, a clean wall behind me. Because like this level of blurring that you would have here with this proficiency of moving my hand and everything, that needs to be done with the computing and processing power that we have nowadays in 2026. That needs to be done optically. You still don't have like that fat. And my glasses here, if you can see like the depth of field of my glasses and everything, and like this, it needs to be optic. It needs to be optical. It needs to be
not to
optical.
mention the depth, like it gets slowly less out of focus, and then it's in focus. That without like some sort of 3D modeling SIF software, you could never emulate that.
Yeah. Even if it's a digital camera doing like cycles of processing to capture that, but the mechanism responsible for doing the blur thing is optical. The sensor is just like they're static, capturing everything that it receives. So it's not processing that in real time like that blur. Because some people think it's just a matter of time. Because the number one, it's like when you play a game on the PS2 and you were super excited back in 1999. Saying like, oh, that's the future. It looks so good. It's because you think something is good until you see something better, right? And then people see the software blurring and things on a spectacular small device like this, and they think, oh, that's good enough. They think it's good enough until they see something that is actually better enough, and then like people have been saying that it's just a matter of time for this to get really good for a decade now, right? And then we got AI doing this crazy stuff and quantum computing, whatever, and this problem honestly hadn't been solved already. So the fake depth of field with software, with the software depth of field, it is preferable to capture the thing in its entirety, because at least you don't commit that to the image, and then try doing it in post. Because then you're not committing that to your photos and you're getting the files. And God knows if an algorithm will come within 10 years that it's going to be impeccable on that, and then it will do the job right. So I rarely use this blur depth of field on Zoom calls and stuff like that. And nowadays
even if the software did exist, I wouldn't, if I wanted the image to look with a shallow depth of field, I'd freaking open up the aperture. It's quicker to do it in camera than in any sort of post-processing.
Yes, yes. And nowadays, you can, like, for $400, you can get a camera with a detachable lens, and you can put it there and run at f2. Like, you can get a Sony EOS M used, which has the Canon M mount. You can get that camera for $200. Well, it doesn't have HDMI out though, so if you want to use it as a webcam, then. But like, for $400, $300, you can get a very decent solution, which doesn't need to be your official camera. You can have that. And I mean, if you're really serious into doing video and stuff like that. Yeah, Max does. He also follow him on Instagram. His Instagram is, let me see.
Max_made it.
Yeah. He posts some very cool reels, and let me open here.
Thank you for the kind words.
Yeah, I'm gonna show it. Share screen, entire screen. Bam, there we go. This is his Instagram, Max_made it. And
there's my
the reels are
video.
nice. Doing sports, Alpha 9 III, photograph with Sony. What do you think about, oh, look at the hat we are using right now. What do you think about photographing with Sony for street photography? Because I feel that Sony is very performant for, I really like this one. Nice. So I really think that...
That was funny. That was not supposed to be a good picture.
I really think that Sony is very, very good for things where you control the environment, like food, concerts, theater. But sometimes because the Sony cameras are a little bigger, and especially with the lenses, on street photography, do you think it scares people out and they think like, oh, that guy is a professional? Because the camera, Sony is a professional camera designed to be used by professionals. But sometimes, do you do street photography with your Sony, or do you prefer going to your film Leicas when you do street?
I've never taken a fun photograph with my Sonys, ever. My Sonys are for work only.
Yeah.
Like unless I'm making like, I don't know, something that requires, I was playing with the global shutter. Like, I'm really interested in the tech behind it. So if I'm trying to do something that requires digital tech, then yeah. But no, I don't think Sony makes a fun camera outside of maybe that RX1 RX Mark III. 1R Mark III.
Yeah. Would you mind on briefly educating our audience on what the global shutter is?
So I actually have a video coming out about this, but typically a camera has a shutter in front of it that travels from left to right within the body. And that means that each portion of the frame, there you go. Yep, it goes up and down in that case. There you go. That means each portion of the frame is actually being exposed at a different moment in time. And that moment, that difference in the moments is absolutely imperceptible in 99% of situations. But especially in video, certain things like LED lights can create They flicker because of that difference in the top of the frame being exposed to the bottom of the frame.
Because it's always scanning like top down or left to right. It's always reading. Okay. So when you open the shutter, the sensor starts reading on a very fast way from the top left to the bottom right. So it and then it creates the image. That happens in milliseconds. That's a traditional sensor. All that happens when the shutter opens and closes. So it's like milliseconds.
Yeah. But the shutter, when in fast shutter speeds, the shutter is never open all the way at the same time. It's actually a slit going across the frame like this. So even that can cause motion blur.
Rolling shutter.
Rolling
Motion
shutter,
blur.
exactly. So on fast-moving objects, you get a jello effect where if something's moving left to right, the bottom might move out in front than compared to the top.
I see.
I actually have
Yeah, so if
sample
you see,
images
like, if
want me
you
to
are
show
in... Yeah, go ahead. So if you are photographing through your car's window, for example, and you have palm trees, and if you are like 50 miles an hour and you point your camera to the window and you take a picture of the palm tree, it's going to look tilted because the scene is passing while the sensor is reading from top to bottom, right?
Right.
It's doing that
And
writing,
with a
creating the
mechanical
file.
shutter, with a mechanical shutter, it's much better than with using digital or silent shutter, where you.
So
just
that's why
use
cameras offer you the option of choosing between the mechanical and electronic shutter. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, because with the electronic shutter, the sensor gets much slower. Like on an A7R IV, the sensor is very slow, so it needs the mechanical shutter. When you get silent, you can get jello even with like somebody running. Like it doesn't take a lot to get jello on the silent shutter on the A7R4, which is super high resolution.
Yeah, if you are photographing birds, for example, that flips their wings pretty fast, right? That can affect the shot because it's gonna look like not completely deformed, but it's not gonna look natural. It's not gonna look like
perfect demonstration. So this is a shot of, let's see if I can get it into focus.
a drone. Okay.
A drone, and you can
we can see
that the prop is banana shaped. Can you see that? Mm-hmm. Do I need to go darker?
I made your image bigger. Okay.
So you can see that the prop is banana shaped, and this is at an 8,000th of a second shutter speed. This prop,
and we know they are straight. Yeah,
they are straight in real life. Mm-hmm. So at the exact same shutter speed, 1/8,000th of a second on the A9 III, which has a global shutter, you can see.
Oh shoot! That's
prop is dead straight.
That's the global shutter.
That's the global.
Are you using the same shutter speed?
Exact same shutter speed. 8,000th of a second. So
okay.
You can stop the motion to a point, but the fact that the shutter has to travel across the sensor, eventually you're going to get some sort of distortion.
Okay, and the global shutter, because it's like the global shutter uses all the photodiodes at the same time, and woof, it captures all at once, right?
Exactly. That's
so
the
it
one thing we
doesn't
didn't
read
say. So
sequentially. Got it.
Right. As you said, it goes from top left to bottom right in a normal camera, and this camera has no shutter. So, or in a mechanical shutter, it requires the shutter to read like this, or in a film camera, it's like left to right. Mm-hmm. But that removes the shutter completely, and it just reads every single pixel at the exact moment. Same moment.
So basically everything is a video.
Yeah.
And that's why global shutter cameras are awesome for slow motion. Is that right? Because it's already naturally doing a video, and the photo is just a frame out of that.
Well, videos have the same rolling shutter issue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, video is worse because you can't use the mechanical shutter in video. So like if you take a video on the A7R4, which is a 60 megapixel sensor, and you go like this, you'll see just like it looks like jello. So it fixes that. If you're filming a drone on the global shutter, you'll see pin straight lines. Yeah,
I see.
Those props are straight.
Do you know if this behavior can be reproduced in motion picture cameras, film? Like rolling shutters and stuff? I assume so, because the film is passing. You have light coming. I don't know, because you have light coming and the film passing on the back.
Yeah.
Right?
If there's any sort of mechanism that is revealing the film
as it's being captured,
anything slower than light speed, there is going to be some sort of rolling shutter. Because
I assume
it takes
so.
time. It takes time for the shutter to reveal that film. So the first portion of I think in cinema cameras, it's a circular shutter. So there's just a pie shape that's cut out that reveals the film. And so the bottom left portion of the film will be revealed first, and then the top right will be revealed last.
While you're capturing
they're going to be seeing technically different moments in time.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Somehow like the human retina. Mary just said. Yeah, correct. Yeah, interesting. So On when you were photographing like for fun, not professionally, you said you like your Leicas and your film cameras. What's your favorite film stock? What's the one that you always buy when you
T-Max
have a
100.
chance? T-Max 100, black
Yeah,
and white.
and if I'm going color, it would be Portra 160 or Ektar. I don't know. Ektar's
I
colors are
also
a little
like
too
Portra
ridiculous.
160. Yeah,
I like Portra
yeah. I
160.
also like Portra 160 more than the Portra 400. I think the Portra 400 doesn't have the pastel colors people say it has. I think it's very grayish and cold, actually. I did 2 photos of the. What's the name that John Lennon was killed in Manhattan? I hate to call the name by this name, but I can forget. I can't remember the name of the building. Dakota Building. Sorry, John. Sorry to call the building by
Rest
that
in
name.
peace, John.
But it's like the Dakota Building with some cherry blossom trees, and I did that with Gold 200 and Portra 400. The gold colors are dope. Let me see if I have it here.
I went off gold for a while, and I've just like been thinking about getting back into it because it does have such a good. If you're seeking a nostalgic film-like effect, gold is there's no beating gold.
Exactly.
But sometimes I like just a pure image. Like Portra 160 is very close to just natural with very little grain, and I'm not a huge grain fan. That's what kind of turns me off gold.
Mm-hmm. I see.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's the Portra. You can see the trees are purple.
Yeah.
The sky is blue. It's slightly underexposed when compared to the gold. I wouldn't say that one or another has the right exposure because there's no such a thing as a right exposure because in this one it's underexposed and you can see the clouds.
Yeah, retained. Yep.
Yeah. And in this one you can see the clouds also because gold has a lower latitude than Portra. Probably if I had taken this exposure with this film, I would get the highlights not being busted. And I didn't want to do like too much of an editing. I just got the Negative Lab Pro preset and I threw in there. So because I don't work with these films for decades to know them well enough to craft like my own thing. I just rely on on what Negative Lab Pro assumes it's right for the film stock. All I do is like calibrating to have black film borders because like if I have multiple shots and some of them because Negative Lab Pro tries to do a best effort among the roll, right? And then I usually typically get one that I think it's well exposed and well taken and I calibrate. And I love things like this lettering, this numbering here, and this very sexy film burn in there, and the film lettering. Like I'm an aficionado for the film lettering, especially this one. Do you know what that means? It must be like something regarding the manufacturing process of the film. So I don't know. I like this. I think these things are very sexy, like the film lettering and the burn.
Is that not applied by your camera?
No, that's not. That comes from the film. Every film has that, and I know because I do. Yeah, and I know because I do contact sheets for them, and it's usually it's not from my camera at all. So if you get that film stock here, CineStills don't have it. It's a Kodak thing actually, and that proves that this is not my camera doing that because this is CineStill.
Did you see?
CineStill has this letter B right there, which I have no idea what it is. But it's a Kodak. It's a Kodak thing. The Kodaks have it. Like if you get Portra 160, which is this one that I took, some of them, it is there. This red lettering.
I noticed that.
It's right here.
I also don't scan my own film, so I have scanned it once, but
yeah, I need to ask Tim from Kodak, Tim Ryugo. Do you know him? Do you know Tim?
I've seen you share some of his stuff. I think.
Yeah, he's such a cool guy. Like Tim Ryugo, he works for Kodak for like 50 years, and he's let me pull up his Instagram. It's called Tim Ryugo _ Kodak. This fellow here, he's so cool. He's so cool. And like, look at this, evangelizing Kodak consumer and professional film for 47 years. That's older than me. Crazy. Like he works for Kodak for almost 50 years. I need to ask him what is this lettering? What is this red that only Kodak films have? So, but yeah, back to the cherry blossom thing.
What's your most frequent? I see you shoot a lot of CineStill 800.
I love CineStill 400. I recently kind of realized that CineStill 800 is great, but the colors are hard to get it right because it's very tungsten. So it's supposed to be used in yellow light. And I think I lost the Substack chat with my live streaming, so I just opened it again. Such a beautiful photograph. Thanks, Mary. Yeah, and that was the Dakota building. Sad story. But that's what happens when I share the screen and I keep moving my windows around. All right, so I see the chat now again. So my favorite is CineStill 400, but I shoot at 800 and I push it on development. Because I have best of both worlds, I still have the halation, because that's what it does when you don't have ramjet, which is the halation thing. And I have good colors. I was going to say cool colors, but cool colors are on the CineStill 800. I think the CineStill 800 is very hard to get the colors right, because nowadays, it's harder to find tungsten lights nowadays. Everything is like fluorescent lights. And if you go like to Times Square and stuff like that, it's everything LEDs, it's everything very white. CineStill 800, because it's tungsten balanced, it's hard to get the colors right. I put filters on front of the lens to make it a little orange, but I have no option. Like if I only have the CineStill 800 on my bag and it's daylight, CineStill during 800 during the daylight, it's gonna look crappy. And I discovered that the worst way. I was new to all of that. I went to Japan and I brought like 20 rolls of CineStill 800. And then I have photos of temples and things that would look beautiful on a Kodak Gold, like warm tones. I can share actually. Japan, 35mm, CineStill 800. Let me get in here. So it's nice for when you were indoors, but I went to Sapporo in the mountains and all I got was CineStill 800 and that was the result. Like,
very cool.
Shit.
But it's snow, but...
It is okay, like, but I'm pretty sure, like, the halation here, the halation is so cool.
Can I say something controversial?
Uh-huh.
I'm not a fan of halation.
I like halation. I like it.
I can see why people would like it. It's just not my style.
Yeah. Halation is this effect for,
the glow
if you
around
don't know.
highlights.
Yeah, that happens because the film has multiple chemical layers on top, and the last one is the red one, and then the light hits the back of the camera and bounces back to the film, overburning the red layer. So everything that is a specular light in the highlights gets this red glow. This is the halation effect. Very prominent
I did not know that's why halations are.
Yeah, it's the light bouncing back from the back of the camera back to the film, but only enough to hit the red layer. And that's what the ramjet layer prevents, which is a carbon layer that reduces the light of the film. That's why CineStill 800 is technically the Kodak Vision 3 500, ISO 500, but because you remove the ramjet layer, which is the layer that prevents the halation, you can shoot it at 800 because you don't have that carbon layer stealing light to prevent the halation. When you have neon signs, like, let me see if I have this, like this sort of stuff. It's very peculiar, and that's why people mostly shoot gas stations and neons with CineStill 800. And a friend of mine sent me a meme. Like, let me get it here. If I get the joke he sent to me. Like, if NASA used CineStill 800T, there was like a Moon Mart. Like, let me get this to the right screen. Like, if NASA used CineStill 800T, like, there would be a gas station on the moon.
That's hilarious.
Because that's what the CineStill 800 do. Like, the scenes like this one, that's where the CineStill 800 shines. It's like very peculiar to this type of photography. And especially when the light leaks come and stuff like that. This is the Shibuya crossing. And you see how like on film I have this picture, this picture, this picture, and this picture. This is a bad habit from digital, which is something I should work on when shooting film. Like avoid duplicate photos because it costs money.
Take one.
Right. Take one.
Oh my god! When I see people you see people like doing street photography or just photography in general on like reels and stuff, and you hear them hit the shutter and they're on like 10 frames a second, just taking a picture of like a sign.
Yeah.
I was just like, you don't need to be on like super speed mode. Just hit the shutter once.
Exactly, like when you do film. So this was shot in CineStill 800, and this landscape would look adorable on Kodak Gold. Probably if I had Kodak Gold on this, with that scene, I would had something comparable to that. But I had CineStill 800, so it's not the right film for that. So going back to your question, my favorite is the CineStill 400. Because the CineStill 400 is not balanced for tungsten light, meaning that the light you're going to get out of the CineStill 400 is like more natural light because it compensates. Because CineStill 800 is designed for tungsten, which means the results are going to look cold. But the CineStill 400 is my favorite one. And if you take a picture like in daylight with the 400, the colors look normal. That's my wife. The colors look normal. Yeah, like this one, super cool. If this was CineStill 800, I would probably have more halation because the film is more sensitive to specular lighting for the halation purpose. But I would have like cold colors. Could I fix it in post? Yes, I could get the white balance slider and mess with that anytime by going here in color and just like doing this with the CineStill 800. But you know what would also cause my film borders would tell others like this should not be that orange. You know, and because I like preserving like this actually looks good.
Film border aficionado.
But this is called Kodak Gold. But I want Kodak Gold with the, you know. And that brings a whole other debate of how much editing is acceptable on film digital, because everything is edited, right? When we photograph with digital photos are supposed to be edited, in my point of view. Like the raw file is it's an open canvas. Yeah, if you're using JPEG and you're using like a Fuji camera with the film simulations and stuff like that, super cool. And if you're using a Leica camera and you have the JPEG applied with the Leica IIIC, also very cool. What is the color thing that Sony cameras offer for JPEGs? Does it have something?
Never seen. I'll tell you, I've never seen a JPEG out of my camera.
Yeah, that's an option.
Never once. I've never used the JPEGs. I use them as a backup for the RAWs, but in when I'm shooting, it's RAWs only.
Yeah, when I use it to shoot Fuji, I use it to shoot RAW plus JPEG. So I have the RAWs if I want to do something later on. But Fuji does a very good JPEG processing on camera with the Fuji film simulations. And I think that Fuji was really smart with that. Like, I think Fuji did what Kodak should do in the digital world, right? So, so this film versus digital. Yeah, Fuji versus film.
Make fun cameras. I don't. Sony
they make cameras that are nice to use. Yeah, they make cameras that are nice to use. Yeah, I think I regret selling my Fuji X Pro 3. Rangefinder and everything, because the film simulations are so good. Leica cameras are nice to use, but again, the JPEG files that are produced out of them, and Leica has something that I despise, which is making the Leica looks on that you can have on the Leica M11 are different than the ones that you can have on the M10. Since with the Q3 and Q2, like the Leica looks you can have on the Q3. This is just software, dudes. Like, we know it's all software processing out of the raw file in camera. Let the ones with previous generation also have access to these Leica looks that you have on newer versions.
How do
Fuji
they
also
compare to
does
Fuji?
that. Because Fuji has a very good history with the films, hence the name. It has like Fuji Eterna, Fuji Chrome, Fuji Pro Via, Fuji Negative Cinema, whatever. So the Fuji film simulations that they have on the JPEGs are like state of the art in color science. That's why I really enjoy Fujifilm cameras, because you can have the RAW, which is like highly editable. I did a post once where I compared editing a RAW and a JPEG by pushing sliders, and the JPEG starts degrading way more. So you still have the RAW if you want to change in post and everything, but the Fuji JPEGs are like best in class in the JPEGs. So that's why I always recommend, because the photos are gonna look good, and they're more than that, they're gonna look. I do a GFX. It's right there on my scanning rig. It's with a macro lens behind me. It's the Fuji. If I hadn't had my Homer Simpson undies, I would go there and show it. But it's the Fuji GFX.
Do you have an X100?
I do have. No, I sold it.
You had the X Pro.
And the X Pro. I sold everything. So I had a Fuji X Pro 3, an X100V, 5 lenses. I sold everything to get the GFX and a macro lens and the negative supply scanning rig. I only got one Fuji X lens. If I want to get one of these Fuji X-T5 or the Fuji X Pro 4 when it comes, then I get it.
I'm conflicted about the X100. I just made a video where I was reacting to celebrities' film cameras, or cameras in general. I think a lot of the people that get the X100 shouldn't get the X100.
Oh, totally. It's the Instagram hype. Yeah. The Fuji X100, let me tell you, it's a workhorse. It has lift shutter. Flash speed goes up to 2,000th of a second. It has an embedded ND filter. It has an f2.2 lens, I think. It has an embedded flash. It does all the Fuji simulations things and the Fuji recipes as well. The Fuji X100V, in my opinion, on that category of cameras, is way better than the Ricoh GR, whatever.
No viewfinder for the Ricoh GR, by the way. It really pisses me off. If you could get a viewfinder on the Ricoh GR, I would buy it.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
and the
Fuji, I
Fuji
cannot be looking at a screen all day.
Yeah, same. And the X100 series also has the hybrid OVF EVF thing, which is a patent that Fuji has, and it's sitting on top of it. And Leica is looking to that patent to expire, because Leica now has either the EVF camera or the rangefinder ones. I think that if Leica puts their hands on that patent, we might have the first hybrid OVF EVF camera on a full frame sensor on a compact body, which is the Leica M.
I don't know if the rangefinder would work with that though, because the Fuji doesn't actually have a rangefinder in it, does it?
No, I don't think so. It's a hole with a bunch of heads-up displays on it. So it's technically not a rangefinder in the sense that if you push something on top, because the Leica rangefinder works because this little thing that you have here, right? When you push that with your finger, the rangefinder path goes left and right, like that thing. Yeah, that's how it works. And the Leica lens, when you use the let me put you on bigger screen to show that. And the Leica lens, when you push the zoom, I mean the focus ring, it pushes that little thing, and that's what aligns the rangefinder patch. So the Fuji, I don't know if they do the actual rangefinder thing or if it's just a hole with information displayed on that, which is top notch, by the way. You can have everything I feel like a fighter jet pilot with all these informations on the heads-up display thing.
I've never really used the X100. I just think a lot of people that buy it should not. Like, a lot of people buy it as their first camera. They're like, I need this X100 because it's going to make me look like the coolest Instagram photographer ever. And I'm like,
yeah,
no,
which should
not be your first camera.
Which is why I think Fuji created the X-Half. But unfortunately, it has a vertical sensor. Like, dang. They got close to... If the X-Half was like an X... not half. If it was horizontal, I would consider getting one. But I don't want to shoot like this. If I want a horizontal shot, sorry, I'm 40 years old. I want to
You know
shoot
what I
like
would
this
like?
if I want a horizontal shot.
You know what I would like if you know the Epson RD1, which is the original digital rangefinder camera.
I think I do. It's one that has pointers on top, like gauges.
Yeah, it's before Leica ever brought out a digital rangefinder. Epson did it first, and
What's the model, just to show people?
the shutter Epson RD1.
Epson RD1. Okay. Go ahead.
And that shutter is still advanced by a mechanical system. So you have to wind the shutter on to take the next picture. So even though it's a digital camera, so it's one of the only digital cameras that the shutter is controlled mechanically. And I think if they did that with the X1/2, that would be sick. To make it actually have mechanical feeling to the camera. They have this crappy like little advanced lever that is just horrible. If they did that and made it feel like a mechanical camera in hand, people would kill for that.
Yeah. It looks like this component here. This let me see if I have a close up. The frame line selector is the very same as the Voigtlander. So let me show you this.
1 second, Raf.
Go ahead. So this frame line selector here is the very same as the Voigtlander ones, which makes me think that somehow, let me see if I have a picture of the frame selector of the Voigtlander here. I just just waiting for this image. Bessa Archway frame line selector. Let me see if I have a picture of it. Yeah, I got it here. Okay. So this is the Voigtlander Bessa frame line selector. And this is the RD17 frame line selector. You see how similar they are. Let me put them side by side. So something tells me these cameras are very alike.
It could be that they're both made by Cosina or whatever.
They are made. At least the Voigtlander is.
Yeah.
They look very similar. Like
Cosina.
I think this Epson rangefinder digital camera is heavily inspired in the Voigtlander's Bessa with a sensor on the back rather than a film. Because look at the similarity.
Yep. Yeah, same frame advance or film advance.
Yeah.
Same hot shoe.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't mind betting they're both made by Cosina.
This one sure is, because I have one. The Bessa.
Yep.
It's made by Cosina. And that's interesting. And there are some projects that people get a sensor back and put in regular film cameras. Have you seen those? I think it's on crowdfunding right now.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of those.
Yeah, same. I paid like $1,400.
Here's my thing, is that if any of those cameras that you're going to put a film back into, you could probably buy a digital version of that camera that has the same mount for cheaper, because that thing
and
is
use
like
the same lens. Yeah,
same lenses and you would spend less money. Just buy a digital camera and use the same lens.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a Nikon F, there's plenty of Nikon F digital cameras. You don't need to convert your Nikon FM whatever FE2 to digital.
Yeah, I agree. All right,
cheaper.
we reached. Yeah, for cheaper. A native without like a kinky sensor on the back of it. All right, so we reached the 1 hour and 5 minutes. And if I know internet, the engagement curve goes like, you know.
We're really interesting today.
I think we are. I think you are always interesting. That's why. And let's do more of these. I'm a strong advocate for more shorter episodes than a few 4 hours one.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's talk
again.
We should
do it live on my YouTube channel one time and react to.
We should do it live on YouTube channel. And something I always wanted to do is do live with 4 more people, 4+ people, like a group. Mm-hmm. We can select like the best 10 photos we took in the last month, and then we can comment over it by doing screen shares and stuff like that. That would be also interesting to have like more people. And that's interesting also because we can have each one of these 4 people with their audiences. So we can like sum forces and have maybe like Nicola Presti, you, me, and I'm by far the smaller one. So that could be very interesting, because I assume people want to see what what photographers think of other photographers' photos, right? And we can just talk stuff, have fun, grab beers, do a session with like beers and photos, virtual session, and stuff like that. So yeah, thanks so much, man, for coming. Let's do more of those.
Do this again, seriously.
Yeah,
I want
I'm
you
going
to
to
be
put
the
a very
co-host on my first YouTube live.
cool, awesome. Yeah, I can totally do that.
To whatever the viewers want to see. We'll talk cameras. We gotta talk about Leicas.
We gotta talk about Leicas. We talk about lenses, new releases like the new 35mm. Look at that. What camera is
Luftwaffe, Nazi Air Force Leica IIIC.
Wow.
From 1941.
1941. Yep. The camera is 80 years old. Yep. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was delivered to the Nazi Air Force in 1941.
Cool. Have you shot with it and developed stuff yet? Is it working properly?
Yeah, I just did it today. The shutter is a little slow, but it's working.
So I have something that I want to show here that I bought. Have you seen those? Let me see if my focus will work. Probably it's not going to work. And I have autofocus. You see, that's the difference between Sony and Canon. Anyway, this is a little thing that has a light meter. Not a light meter that will tell you like exposure. It's a very dumb light meter that will just detect if light is reaching it or not. You turn this thing on, you get your film camera, you open the back door of the camera, you put that light meter on the back of the camera, and you put a lantern on the other side, and you put like 1 to 500ths of a second, and you press the shutter. Shutter is gonna open and close. The light from the lantern is gonna reach this light meter here on the supposedly 1/500th of a second, and it tells you for how much time it read the light. So when I am buying, that's why I like buying film cameras on physical stores, because I bring that and I get my little Maglite Solitaire, the very small light. It doesn't work with phone LEDs because these flicker. It needs to be a tungsten light lantern because it's continuous light, right? And then Mary just said that she's definitely going to follow you. She's the paperback mama on Instagram. So that carries a battery, and it sees if the shutter is operating as it should in terms of the shutter speed of the camera. So if you do like 1/60 of a second, which is cool because people like bitching about Leica cameras that they are expensive. Every single Leica camera, like Leica cameras are mechanical marvelous. They're perfect. Every single Leica camera, because the cameras they never give you like if you put the dial to 1/60 of a second or 1/25 of a second, it will never like bullseye on what you put it there. It always has like Leica cameras. They have like a 2%, 3% margin error margin, whatever. My Voigtlander, when I put to 1/25 of a second, it usually goes 130, 120, stuff like that. The Leicas are like 123, 124. It's like crazy. But if you go over 1/500ths, the Leicas are still 1/500ths. And if you go on my Voigtlander, for example, it's like 420, 430. So the error margin starts increasing as the faster the shutter speed is. This little device is called Pulse HPT, and it's a must-have to buy. And you can also put in the flash shoe to measure the hot shoe time. Oh, wow. It's very cool. It's very cool. I'm gonna put this in front of my screen to remember me doing a post about it on Camera Clara.
Sweet.
Yeah. CameraClara.com, your sponsor for today's show. All right. Thanks, Max. Thanks for participating.
I'm going to go eat dinner.
Yeah, me too. It's 7:30 p.m. here. I'm curious to see the photos you took with that camera.
I'll send them to you.
All right. Duck Digital. Have a good time.
Duck Digital. See ya.
See ya.